right, Bubba. Start cleaning those tires up. Green this time. Remember, they fan out down there, so protect that bottom. So Sunday drive. All right, boss man. Hey, cars off. Be ready. Bub, be ready. Ready. Green flag. Green.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Inside Pass, episode number 241, if you're keeping count at home. We are, 9 episodes away from 250.
250, that would be correct, yeah.
Yep, which I think happens on Valentine's Day.
I'm not keeping count.
Well, I am, so that's okay. So we do have a big show tonight. Our guest coming up at the bottom of the hour, USAC national champion Michael Buddy Kofoid. Will join us, and he joins the rankings of some very elite guys in the USAC National Midget Championship ranks, and obviously up-and-coming superstar in the sprint car ranks. So we'll get to talk to him about his season so far. And not to be outdone, last week we talked all about the Cup Series, and I feel like this week the Truck Series said, hold my steering wheel, because we're about to make some announcements.
It felt like National Signing Day for the
Truck
Series.
Exactly. Yeah, it literally was National Signing Day for the Truck Series, with a plethora of new signings, even happening today before we came on the air. I know there were a couple of signings that happened today, so we'll talk about those in this show as well. We will talk about the Snowball Derby. I tried to get Chandler to come on tonight, but apparently he's busy, which is fine. It's whatever.
Slightly busy.
It's a KBM thing.
Still picking up the pieces of the motor.
Probably still listening to the booze, too.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, we will talk about what happened at the Snowball Derby. He did win officially.
Yes, he did.
So NASCAR Awards Banquet happening this past weekend. So we'll talk about the speeches by all three of the champions. Great speeches by all three of those guys, I felt like. All deserving, obviously, all sentimental in terms of, just like standing in the moment and realizing that they've won a championship, and they're all like, I don't want this moment to end, but it's going to end in a couple of short months.
Was smart. They had
I know, man. Ben had a Bud Light up on the podium.
I'm concerned. I'm starting to concern. I'm getting concerned about Ben Rhodes, and he may need some AA. He might need AA in a little while, but we'll talk about that too. We have all kinds of stuff to talk about. F1 raced at Saudi Arabia over the weekend. Beautiful track. Apparently, they need to go reconfigure that track because a bunch of people don't know how to turn at that track. We'll talk about that too. So lots and lots going on. We will start breaking it all down for you when we come back. This is the Inside Pass presented by mycomputercareer.edu, training for a better life, and we'll get it all started when we come back.
Do you love the sound of high-revving motors and the smell of burning rubber? Do you want to get your car sideways right at the ragged edge of control? If you've always wanted to try drifting or learn to improve your drifting skills, Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier motorsports facility, has the expert instructors and the specialized track to teach you how to drift and the skills necessary to drift competitively. From skid pad to open sessions, Summit Point Motorsports Park has the safe and open environment that allows drifters of all skill levels, new to intermediate, to get sideways and smoking. With a focus on safety and the skill set necessary to drift competitively, Summit Point Motorsports Park's Drift Nirvana is just the thing for you. Call for your reservation today, 304-725-8444. Or for more information, go online, summitpoint-raceway.com, or you can email them at office@bsrinc.com. Drift Nirvana, getting you sideways the right way.
Victory Custom Trailers is the place to go for your next new or used trailer or coach. Being personally involved in the racing community allows Victory to fully understand what racers need in a trailer. They have over 200 coaches and trailers in stock for a variety of industries, and they can serve anyone in the continental U.S. If you're looking for something custom, they can assist in designing a trailer to fit your needs. Check out their entire inventory online at victorycustomtrailers.com.
I'm Andrew Saul, Commissioner of Social Security. Beware of telephone scammers pretending to be government employees. Real Social Security employees will never threaten you. Callers threatening you with arrest or other legal action and demanding money are not from us. If you receive a call like this, hang up, do not provide them with any form of payment or information. Report the call at oig.ssa.gov.
What an awesome game. What's up with
with your car?
I don't know. It won't start.
How are we getting home?
Chill. My parents signed me up for the roadside assistance from Lewis Meineke. It was free with my oil change. They'd come and get the car started or get us home and tow the car to the shop.
Good to know. With my driving, my parents never know what to expect.
When you join the Meineke Car Care Club with a $35 preferred service, you get 4 free months of roadside assistance, including tire change, battery jump, lockout service, towing, and more. Contact Lewis Meineke, located on Route 1, or call 827-2054.
When do you think of a plumber? Like most people, even if it's an emergency, you can be confident about who will arrive to help you. For quality and reliability, count on someone you can trust. Call on the plumbing services of Hague Quality Water of Maryland. Plumbing doesn't have to be an emergency. We handle all kinds of preventative maintenance too. Hague Quality Water of Maryland is family owned here in Annapolis since 1993. For a refreshing choice, call us at 888-84-WATER or visit us online.
Grandma got run over by a reindeer walking home from our house Christmas Eve. You can say there's no such thing.
If you could hear us during the commercial break, it sounds like the Westminster Dog Show in here because we're talking about dog breeds.
Mormon tubercular choir.
All the new things that we've learned while we were off the last week. That apparently there's a Chai Husky.
Chihuahua and a husky mix.
I still can't get that image out of my head.
These poor unfortunate dogs. Can you imagine when these, just like a schnoodle, the schnoodle goes to kindergarten and all the other dogs pick on him because it's a funny, goofy name. I mean, that's just terrible.
That's true.
Schnauzer and a poodle. Why would you do that?
Chris left me on mute.
I left you on mute because you were singing. Because
I was wondering if that's what it was for, and then I was like, man. I can't talk about the Chai Husky.
Sometimes I feel like Chris just forgets that you're even in the room.
I think he purposely makes his mind do that.
He's like, oh, Noah's in here. I have to turn him back on.
I'm just waiting for him to fall out of the chair again.
All right, so let's talk about some...
I'll come push you out of your chair.
This is abuse.
Yeah, let's talk about some NASCAR stuff. The big story this week revolved around RPM Motorsports and Richard Petty deciding that he's going to sell his majority stake in the company to GMS Racing. And so GMS Racing now, I guess, takes over majority ownership of RPM Motorsports. Don't know exactly what that means in terms of GMS versus RPM. I'm assuming at some point GMS will take full control, probably at some point in the next couple of years, and just become its own entity. So I guess that essentially makes Eric Jones and Ty Dillon teammates this upcoming year, which is kind of cool. And so I'm secretly hoping that the PR people over there, Leighton and the guys, end up taking over Eric's PR people so we can actually get him here. But that's a whole other story. That's a whole inside other thing. I reached out to him, but he's been busy traveling and sort of back and forth from Nashville. But hopefully we'll find the answer out. No, Leighton.
Oh, I was going to say Eric.
I reached out to Leighton to see if he was going to secretly take over PR duties. Yeah. But anyway. He's working on some stuff, not only for us, but for GMS next year. But this is a big thing for those guys. And obviously an end of an era in the sport, obviously with Richard Petty no longer being a owner in the sport. But I think it's good in terms of GMS because that gives us a really good quality team for Eric to drive for this upcoming year.
Well, we should clarify, I suppose, for those who are listening to this, that GMS took over majority ownership. Now, Andrew Murstein from Medallion Financial? Yeah, Medallion Financial. I think they're a New England-based company. They actually owned the majority of that team. Richard was an owner pretty much in name only. I think maybe a small share, but so whether or not it stays Richard Petty Motorsports in some form or fashion, Peter, I would have to think you've got the King, who is the most recognizable face in NASCAR history. Okay, I would think if you're GMS, you somehow want to keep him in the fold because from the standpoint of bringing in sponsors who want to sort of chill with the King, I think I would have to think he stays around in some way.
Absolutely. Just Richard Petty's face, his sunglasses, his hat. It's just such a marketing machine. It has been for 50 plus years. So I'd love to see the 43 team remain as the 43 team this year with Eric Jones, especially considering they just signed Focus Factor.
Focus Factor.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the plan, is for them to continue to operate under the two different names.
Do we know that?
Yeah, well, that's what GMS and all of them have started to say. Nothing too official has come out yet.
There's a press conference tomorrow,
Right.
right?
That's when we'll get like the official stuff. But also there were talks about that, Petty being a part of the team was a big selling point for them as well. From what I've heard. So it seems like Petty will still stick around in some entity with the team once they do fully combine.
Also, I should clarify, tomorrow meaning Tuesday, not Sunday.
Yes, not when you're hearing it.
If you're listening to this on Saturday morning.
Yeah, no.
You know more than we do.
Yes.
And I should also clarify that Ty Dillon's car previously was not chartered, and this deal involves two charters. The 43 charter, which will remain with the 43, and what was the 51 charter at Rick Ware Racing.
Oh, okay. Now because I wondered I knew there were two charters involved, but I didn't know.
Right, so now the
they
Petty
were.
Ware charter, which was the 51 the past couple years, will now be the 94 charter.
To the 94. So basically now.
At least it's a competitive charter now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just being honest.
And honestly, guys, I think that this is an interesting thing for GMS because they literally have been in the Cup Series for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
and they've multiplied already. They're now a two-car team. And with all of the other assets that they have with the truck teams, you would think that, again, from a marketability standpoint, and the new marketing director that they have, Brad Zimmerman, who's one of the best, in my opinion, one of the best marketing folks in the entire sport of motorsports, you're going to see some really interesting sponsors, I think, come into that fold, especially if Richard remains, right? So I feel like GMS really did themselves a great service, Peter, with this.
Absolutely. And what else is interesting about this whole GMS deal is they're downsizing significantly in the truck series. They had 3, 4, at times 5 trucks this past season. And as of currently, they only have Jack Wood and Grant Enfinger for this coming season. So the two of them plus Ty Dillon, they'll all be potent cars or trucks in their series.
And I would argue, Randy, that Eric Jones has got to be doing backflips across his lawn over this because he, I believe, becomes more competitive now because, GMS, I think, will put a better product out there than what RPM's been able to, not because they aren't qualified people. They just didn't have the resources.
I'm just trying to figure out how good of a product Focus Factor is. If they've been in the Cup Series for 15 minutes, they're just buying stuff left and right.
Wow.
That's a lot of focus in a bottle.
You have to think, Peter, that Focus Factor was made aware of this prior to.
I'm sure.
Because that would have been a
that
great
probably
reason
solidified
to
their
be-
sponsorship.
Yeah,
More
exactly.
than likely. And like Noah said, the plan is for at least this season to operate the 43 as quasi-independent of the 94 under the RPM banner. So I'm sure once cars hit the track at Daytona in February, we won't realize the difference with a 43 car on track.
But we may realize the difference in performance, and even though it's operating independently, again, we have a brand new race car. I am quite sure that those guys will be working closely together.
Absolutely, and then also what it creates too now is just this new Chevy development kind of team, right? Because now you've got another outlet in the truck series to put Chevy development type drivers to eventually move up, and we have more Chevy competitive cars in the Cup Series. So I'm really excited to see what that does too, because I think that they'll be getting a lot of manufacturer support on that end, with how much effort they're already putting into the program. So that'll be interesting.
That is true.
It's exciting stuff.
Also, in terms of a charter, we learned that the 2311 charter that they secured came from Starcom when they sold their team. They paid $13.4 million for it and apparently almost put Denny Hamlin in bankruptcy because he complained about it for 3 weeks about how it cost him a lot of money. He didn't want to pay that kind of money. I doubt he paid the money. I'm sure Michael Jordan paid a lot of it.
I was just going to say.
But at the same time,
yeah.
I did find it funny that he complained about having to buy a charter to do it, but yet he's sitting pretty now because both of his cars are going to be guaranteed starting.
Have you seen his house?
Well, last year.
And the shop they're building.
Have to sell the basketball court inside the house.
Or the helicopter.
Have to sell one of the Daytona 500
He'll sell
winning
naming
cars.
rights to the indoor basketball court.
Well, last year for Bubba's charter, charter, the 23's charter, he only paid $4 million. So having to pay more than 3 times as much this year, that's quite a price hike in such a short period of time.
But if you look at it as he's paying $13.4 million for a charter for a driver who's actually going to win races for the team as opposed to Bubba Wallace.
Yeah, can you imagine? You talk about charters becoming more competitive. You go from that to this, like if you're that charter, you're like, yay! But I mean, and imagine being Starcom. That team barely ran above 25th for their entirety of their Cup existence.
They didn't make $13 million in 17 years.
They just made $13.5 million for a charter.
It just shows how competitive right now it is in terms of teams needing charters and how their prices have gone up.
Yeah,
it's like the country inflation.
Wait till the charters become NFTs.
Well, funny you mentioned the price of the charter because someone on Twitter pointed out that Derek Cope's career earnings were not $13.5 million.
That's about right.
Exactly.
Speaking of NFTs, we'll talk about that when we come back because there's an NFT company who's trying to partner with Landon Castle to get him in a bigger ride. And there's rumors going around about who that ride might be for and from. So we will take a break, and we'll have more on that when we come back. This is the Inside Pass presented by mycomputercareer.edu, training for a better life.
And you know how to drive, but you want to learn real performance driving. Well, Bunky, get that car off the street and onto the track. Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier road racing facility, located just over an hour from D.C. in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, is the place to go. And you'll find that Friday at the track is going to give you what you need. For less than a monthly car payment, you can attend this regularly scheduled one-day instructional event in your street car on one of Summit Point's 3 world-class road racing circuits. You'll receive classroom instruction, skid pad instruction in their cars, including front and rear skid control, and 4 20-minute in-your-car instructional sessions from a professional instructor. Have fun, go fast, and really learn how to drive. Call 304-725-8444 for class schedules and details. That's 304-725-8444. Friday at the track at Summit Point Motorsports Park.
How do airplanes fly? What's in this box? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Learn how to store your gun securely and make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
Okay, men. This is your time. Maybe you didn't choose this, but you're here now. You're going to go out there and be an all-star caregiver. It's up to you. So what are you going to do? You're going to go grocery shopping, cook, clean, be there emotionally and physically. You got to dig deeper. Drive them to physical therapy, doctor's appointments. Don't you forget about the pharmacy. No, you won't. Because that's what caregivers do. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. This is your time to show the world, your family, and yourself that you're tougher than tough. Now go out there and be the best caregiver this world has ever seen.
Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
It's hard to concentrate on 2 things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Here's an important message from RAD and this station.
Hi, this is Bob Sheehan from Blues Traveler for RAD, Recording Artists Against Drunk Driving. I like to party just as much as the next guy, maybe even more. But the one thing I won't do after I've had a few is get in the car and drive. Don't blow it. Always choose a designated driver. Remember, music lives, and so should you.
We talked about NFTs before the break and cryptocurrency and all that stuff that I have no idea about, but some people out there do. And Landon Castle is one of those drivers that does. He actually gets paid in cryptocurrency when he's out on the racetrack because his sponsor, Voyager, is one of those cryptocurrency, NFT type of companies. Anyway, this year they really wanted to go all in with him and really try to find him a ride that's with a top quality team. And now he's been linked to Kaulig Racing as potentially taking over the 10 that Jeb Burton left behind. They reached out, meaning the media has reached out to Kaulig for comment, and he said they have nothing to announce at this time, but I think that's coming probably after the break. But
it's just because they have to make sure that they get this witty
that's
way.
That's a surefire sign that
they're trying to explain to Chris Rice how crypto works.
Pretty much. pretty much so. At the same time, though, Landon Castle is...
Can I be a fly on the wall for that conversation? It does what?
3 days later, he's like, you know what? Still with a smile on his face. He's like, you know what? Just whatever happens.
What's a blockchain?
Did the crypto check clear?
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah,
Wrap the car, boys.
Pretty much. But Landon is a very talented driver, and I feel like this is a great thing for him to be a part of. Kaulig is an amazing organization. We all know that. Chris is a great friend of ours, as is Justin Haley, and then the rest of the guys on that team. So I think if he gets in over there, he's going to be a really, really good driver.
Yes. Landon is a driver that I feel like has never really been given the first-class racing opportunity that he deserves. He was in the Rick Hendrick organization many years ago, back when Hendrick used to have their development and had the ARCA team and all that. And one of the things Landon told me at the time, and he was fresh into NASCAR with that opportunity, and it was like you were basically told, go to the front and don't wreck the car. And it's kind of like that advice is the worst possible advice that you give to a race car driver, and so, because you're handcuffing him. And so ever since then, he just has never been able to. So I would be really excited to see him in a equipment like Kaulig equipment. And especially, can you imagine him and Daniel Hemrick?
And AJ.
Yeah.
Well, and AJ, yes, in the Xfinity series. I mean, that would be, to me, a deadly combination.
Absolutely.
I think that'd be great.
Yes. And just like, even when Landon was running the Starcom car, because he was one of the first to drive that car, and he always kind of, it was the best we saw Starcom run in any
Cup
of it.
race that Justin Haley won, and it was leading that race, and then
right.
when they were at one to go.
Yeah.
He would have won that race, and I'm still mad about that to this
and
day.
Starcom may not have, they may be still in the series.
Exactly. But nevertheless, I mean, Landon, look, he's got such a great platform, too, with fan engagement, and he's such a likable guy. He's a fan favorite. And so any opportunity like this that he could possibly get would be huge for even Kaulig in terms of the awareness and support, So.
Well, and he really is cut from the Kaulig cloth in terms of his personality.
Yeah, absolutely.
He and Justin Haley are very similar personalities. They're both kind of, very nerdy young kids that just are really sunny kind of people, very upbeat and positive people. And Landon is just an amazing guy. That's when I saw that, it was kind of like, boy, we're supposed to not be biased, but I would love to see him get that shot.
I'd love to see Landon in any winning opportunity, and a Kaulig car is absolutely a winning opportunity. They put all three cars in the playoffs last season.
Yep.
You can see what he did when he was with JD Motorsports too. I mean, even with before Ross Chastain went to Kaulig, they both were getting each other better and making those cars better over there too. So he was finishing in the top 15 every week, whereas before, they were top 25 team at best. So.
Well, and the other thing that Landon brings is, again, people don't just like when Alex Bowman came to Hendrick, everybody treated him like he was a rookie. He had made like 80 cup starts, and Landon's been in this deal for years.
Yeah, he has close to 350
cup
starts.
I mean, it's not as if the guy has no experience, so this wouldn't be a stretch to give him this opportunity, and if he brings the dollars to do it, it's perfect for Kaulig, and would be his best shot that he's probably ever had in NASCAR. So
he's bringing the cryptocurrency, not the dollars.
Well,
whatever. I mean,
whatever you call it.
Somewhere along the way, there's a dollar involved. Somewhere along the way, but nonetheless. So we mentioned at the top of the show, the Truck Series has decided to make everybody hold their steering wheel while they go and have a signing day with everybody. It started, I think, on Tuesday with Front Row Motorsports announcing their lineup for 2022. Which is kind of topsy-turvy, but we knew Michael McDowell was going to be back behind the wheel of his 34 machine. His teammate, or I guess former teammate, Anthony Alfredo, we knew was going to be out, but we didn't know who was going to be in that car. Now we know that Todd Gilliland is being promoted from the Truck Series up to the Cup side, so he will take that car. And then the truck that Todd leaves behind is going to go to Zane Smith, who we mentioned several weeks ago thought he had a deal with Chip Ganassi Racing before he ended up selling the team to Trackhouse. So he ends up landing on his feet and taking over that truck. So Todd's been obviously competitive in the 38 truck. So obviously I think having Zane behind the wheel is going to be just as competitive, if not more so, because he's done a little bit better in recent years. But that's a heck of a jump for Todd. Not saying he can't do it. But that's a heck of a jump.
Yeah, we kind of skipped a series, didn't we?
We did, but with Next Gen, are they really that similar?
Well, and here's kind of my deal with this. First of all, we should have all seen this coming, right? Because Daddy's involvement. I mean, I think most people know that the front row truck is essentially David Gilliland Racing, operating that team under the front row name. So should be no surprise that Todd gets the promotion. It was time to move him up, so Anthony had to go, and that's too bad. And I think Anthony's going to have a hard time finding a place at this point in the Cup Series, or maybe any series in 2022, because of how this all shook out. But again, that's part of it. But to the point about Zane Smith, you mentioned before that GMS downsized. So, we lost Tyler Ankrum, we lost Zane Smith, and all of a sudden, now both of those young drivers landed quite well on their feet. Zane takes over a truck that's easily championship capable. Oh, yeah. Okay, so, and we'll talk Tyler Ankrum in a moment. He did the same thing with a different team that we'll get to. But I think this is a great opportunity for him, for Zane.
Yeah. Absolutely. Zane's finished second in the Truck Series points the last 2 years, and he could easily get one position better in 22.
All right, well, let's pause for a second for trucks, and we'll go to the phone line and bring on our guest. He is the 2021 USAC National Midget Champion. Michael Buddy Kofoid is on the hotline, and from all of us here at the show, obviously, congratulations on the championship. That is a feat in and of its own, sir, and congratulations on your championship.
No, thank you. I appreciate it, and thanks for having me on. I'm looking forward to talking with you guys.
Yep, so we've got about 3 minutes left in this segment. We're going to hang on to you and talk to you again when we come back from break here in a little bit. But just briefly kind of talk about the season as it is. I mean, you joined some elite companies, some guys, some very prestigious names have been USAC national champion. You now add your name to that list of guys who have gone on to greatness, and you're still fairly young, so you got a long career ahead of you. But to already have that championship behind you is certainly a feat in and of itself.
Yeah, no, it definitely is, like you said. A lot of really great race car drivers have won it before me, and even guys that I've raced with currently. So, those guys make you a better driver that you get to race with. I think this year for the midget season, especially, it's been about as tough as it's ever been, I would say. And to do that alone, it's pretty special, and to do it the way we did it. And especially with my injury earlier this year, and to kind of beat that and to keep on, persevering and win the championship was cool. But, it was tough. I mean, we, did over 40 races for USAC alone. And then, had a lot of power ride shows, and I ran wing sprint cars, non-wing sprint cars, and some pavement late model stuff. So I was really busy this year, but it was really fun, and this was my top goal for this year. So to do that was really special, and hopefully we can just keep on going.
In about a minute, can you just briefly tell our audience about your injury so that they can get a handle on what you recovered from to win the championship?
Yeah, so in July, I was running a pavement late model in Minnesota, and more or less kind of got crashed, and my wrist, I broke my right wrist, and believe it or not, I hit it on the shifter. When I hit the wall, the motor and transmission came out and broke over to the left, and my hand was kind of on the wheel, but not in it, where people thought you get your thumbs in, and that wasn't the case, but the shifter kind of whacked my wrist, and then I broke my left foot. But other than that, my foot healed up quick, and the wrist took a little bit. So I had to race with the cast, but we were able to get it done.
All right, Michael, we are going to step aside here for break in a second, so we're going to put you on hold, put you in a little purgatory for a second. We'll bring you back outside of the break. But that's Michael Buddy Kofoid, the USAC national midget champion. And I mentioned he joins a long list of guys who have won this championship: Jason Leffler, Tony Stewart, Dave Darling, Casey Kane, Bobby East, Josh Wise. Christopher Bell has won it, Brian Clausen, Rico Abreu, Logan Seavey won it in 2018. So that's some stacked talent right there.
It is. And he talked about running the payment late model. This was the first year that he tried to do that. They had a development deal for him on the West Coast. And he was running, I think it was Elko Speedway in Minnesota is where that happened. And but I'm not sure it's a lock that he follows a lot of the other guys who have made the transition to NASCAR. He really likes the dirt, so I think he's still kind of on the fence, but he wanted to try it.
We need to keep dirt guys in the sport. We are going to step aside, take a break. We'll be back with more of the NSFS Buddies coming up right after the break. Stick with us.
How to be a great dad in 15 seconds. Bike ride, go fish, walk in the park, phone call, milkshake, play catch, picnic, fly a kite, tell jokes, laugh, talk, read a story, tell a story, bumper car, swing set, bowling, pillow fight, cut loose, stay tight. Whew. Because the smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Automotive technicians and auto service trainees, how would you like to work at the beach and perform for one of the best car care centers in the nation? Louis Meineke is now looking for skilled automotive technicians to join their award-winning team. If you're a gearhead that knows his or her stuff, or a young up-and-comer that has the motivation and drive to succeed, then you need to make this call today. 302-827-2054. Louis Meineke Car Care Center, located in beautiful Lewis, Delaware, offers a highly competitive compensation plan, great benefits, a flexible schedule, and did we mention that you're going to be working at the beach? Plus, there's a signing bonus for the right candidates. Technicians must be ASE certified and have a minimum of 6 years experience. Beginners advance at your own pace in one of several entry-level positions. But whatever you do, don't wait. These jobs will go fast. Call Tim at 302-827-2054. That's 302-827-2054. Louis Meineke Car Care Center. Rev up your career.
You hear that? That's the sound of America's only sports car. That's right. It's a Corvette. But not just any Corvette. It's your Corvette. It's that who cares if there's traffic part of your day. And this can be you when you come to Cooper Corvettes. With 60 years of Corvettes to choose from, there's always a Corvette in your budget. And they'll service any Corvette you bring in. Cooper Corvettes on Route 1 just north of Quantico and Triangle. Call, click, or visit CooperCorvettes.com.
He wanted to be known for doing his best. Sure, right. His best made him Major League Baseball's most valuable player. Strike two. He played in 6 World Series and was elected to the Hall of Fame. Although an honest man, he was best at stealing home. But the best quality of Jackie Robinson's life was his character. So here's to you, Mr. Robinson. Thanks for passing it on. From the Foundation for a Better Life at Values.com.
When Marlon Shirley was 5 years old, he was in an accident and lost his foot, but he didn't lose his heart.
When you tackle a challenge that you just cannot even fathom tackling, when you accomplish that, the amount of integrity and the will and the heart that you'll get from that experience is what will set you up for your life.
In less time than it took Marlon Shirley to say that, he can now run 100 meters because today he's the world's fastest amputee. Overcoming. Pass it on from the Foundation for a Better Life at Values.com.
The thing about that song is it takes so long to get into the actual lyrics from the intro.
Yeah, that's true.
Or else I would have been singing.
What a classic.
There's probably an extended version of that takes like 17 minutes before you actually ever figure out what the song
yeah.
Radio station I used to work at, there was a 20-minute unplugged version of Hotel California that we had on a compilation CD. And that became what we would call in the business the bathroom song. So when you had to, go and you were going to be a while, you'd slap that on and you'd have 20 minutes.
20 minutes is like a lunch break, like Chick-fil-A drive-through and go back and eat dinner while you're waiting on the song. And welcome back to the show. Let's go back to the phone line and bring on Buddy Kofoid so he can save the day here and pull us out of this talking about food that we always talk about. So before the break, before the break, we were talking about your injury and, of course, coming back from the injury. And so talk a little bit about the first race back and what was going through your mind, getting back into the race car. I mean, people talk all the time about, the violence that sprint car racing holds. And, when you strap yourself in, those accidents are obviously prone to happen to you guys. But talk a little bit about just the mentality of getting back into the car once you've gotten your injuries healed and you're ready to get back behind the wheel again.
Yeah, so it's kind of funny. My next race back was pretty much the next week. I flew to Charlotte and met with some special doctors that Toyota is involved with. As being a part of Toyota and a development driver for them, they have a lot of good resources we can use. And so I flew to Charlotte and got a special cast and had it molded to, I brought a steering wheel and had it kind of molded to where I could kind of hold it. And because I didn't have any thumb pretty much, and obviously it was over my whole wrist, so you have no wrist movement. And I had most of my 4 fingers out, but it had a nice indentation where it sat in the wheel. And so my first few races back were more pavement races, and it was pretty much the next week.
Wow.
And then my next dirt race was in Pennsylvania.
Wow. That's, you don't miss no races.
Well,
just like a dirt track racer.
When he's describing it, I have this feeling like, the doctor looks at his chart and sees he's a sprint car racing and goes, yeah, we're not stopping him. Whatever you need, let's just get it going.
Bring the wheel and we'll just make the cast.
Exactly. We'll make the cast run the wheel.
Yeah, that's amazing. Talk a little bit about what your plans are for 2022, and what can you tell us about where we can find Buddy Kofoid? Are you going to do more pavement racing, or, what is kind of the goal here? Because you did test the pavement late model, and not just test it, but race it, tried it out. Were you excited about the pavement stuff, and is it something you want to pursue more of?
Yeah, so to answer your first question, I don't really know exactly where I'm going to be next year yet. We're still working on it. Hopefully we'll know soon, but, I'd love to be doing as much pavement races as I can. That's ultimately where I want to be, and my dream's always been to make it to Cup and NASCAR for as long as I can remember, and that hasn't changed. So
wow.
Being with Toyota, again, like I said, they have a lot of really great opportunities, and being in this situation is kind of something I've worked my whole life for. So, I got to run the midgets for Keith Kins Motorsports for a couple years, and do it with Toyota and represent Mobile One, and so that's been really great. And hopefully, I can keep doing more pavement races next year and try and kind of keep moving up.
If you follow in the footsteps of the guy named Kyle Larson. I think you'll be okay.
Or the guy named Christopher Bell. I mean, both.
Or even Chase Elliott at this point, because he's becoming
there's a list
or
of
that, or that Jeff Gordon guy. Yeah. I think he won a time or two in NASCAR.
Yeah, maybe. So give us your social media. So how can people follow you on social media and the like?
Yeah, so it's pretty much just at Michael Kofoid on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.
And you're going to run the Chili Bowl, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Try and go again for this to be my 3rd time, and hopefully we can, lock it in again. But we didn't have the best luck on Saturday last year. I mean, we made the show, but we had a little bit of an issue and just spiked up and didn't get upside down, but came down so hard it knocked the front end down we couldn't finish. But hopefully, this year I know we have really good speed and pretty confident, so hopefully we can finish off Chili Bowl even stronger.
What's it like as a driver to participate in an event like the Chili Bowl that literally the entire racing world is watching because there's nothing else going on at that time of year, right?
Yeah, no, it's a lot of fun, but it's really intense.
I bet.
You know, that's probably the most nervous you'll ever get for a race. Like your prelim nights, your heat races and qualifiers is the most nervous I ever am pretty much during the whole year. And I feel like if a race can make you feel that way, then it shows how special it is, or at least how much that I want it. So,
that's a great point.
But yeah, it's intense, but it's, you know, it's 5 days, 360 cars, and you know, you gotta pretty much beat 340 just to make the show, and that's tough to do in itself, for sure.
You just don't want to be part of the flip count, Randy.
Yeah,
the
exactly,
flip count,
right.
There's so many flips there that it has its own sponsor. You don't want to be part of the flip count.
That is exactly right. That is for sure. Michael, congratulations on your championship, my friend. And when you solidify your plans for next year, you come back on and tell us what they're going to be, okay?
Definitely. Thank you for having me on, guys. I appreciate it.
No problem at all. Michael Buddy Kofoid, your 2021 USAC National Midget Champion. Tom and I have talked plenty of times on the show. He's been on Motorsports Madness several times, but
yes,
the kid's going to go places, and he's going to be a really, really big superstar. I really do hope that he doesn't go into NASCAR, and I don't mean anything bad toward the NASCAR world, but we have enough of former dirt guys in the Cup world. We need some guys that are going to be consistently in that series.
You need dirt track veterans.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, and I know he's still a kid, but I mean, at the same time, you need those household names in those series. And Kyle Larson's not going to be able to hold the ball forever. I mean, eventually, he's going to either go back to dirt full time, or he's going to make so much money he's not going to have it and have his own dirt team, which is fine. But we need guys like Buddy Kofoid, Dason Pursley, which well wishes to him too. But guys like that to come along and stay in the series long term and make those connections with the fans and keep the fans coming back when Kyle Larson can't be there. So,
you're exactly right.
So let's move on and talk some more Truck Series news. We mentioned the Snowball Derby and Chandler Smith winning the Snowball Derby, which we can talk about a little bit in the next hour of the show. But he did re-sign with KBM, so he will be back behind the wheel of the what truck is it? The 18 truck, with Safelite. I keep thinking of the 51 and the 4 and all the other trucks.
Well, he is
but the cool thing to me, Tom, is that Kyle Busch actually has a team consistent for 2 years in a row, because this is it's been a long time since they've been consistency behind that team, and I think having 2 years now with John Hunter Nemechek and Chandler Smith together, and Chandler coming off of what he won at Phoenix, right?
Right. Yeah.
So he's got momentum on his side. 2 wins already on in his career in the Truck Series, and now he's going to hit Daytona with momentum. And then John Hunter Nemechek, I'm sure, is going to try to prove himself after losing out on the championship on the first lap of the season finale race at Phoenix. So there's a lot of proving to do there, and I think those guys are going to have some good star power next year.
Yeah, it's a different situation for KBM, and it's taken them a while. Yes, it's taken them a while, I think, to kind of because their big advantage was always the Toyota motors, and when we went to the sort of spec motors, if you will, then for a little bit, I think they lost a little of their advantage. Well, then we had a lot of different drivers and, all that kind of thing. Now you bring John Hunter Nemechek in, a veteran who comes back and just lights up the scoreboard, and Chandler Smith in his first full year, but you knew the kid was going to be a great racer, and now he gets year 2, and John Hunter, obviously, another year in the Truck Series. That's going to be a very potent team for 2022, and I'm not going to say they're the big threat for the championship because there's so many other competitive teams, but honestly, I think this is a really different and sort of new old situation again for KBM going into this next season.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. It's anytime that you can have that repetition within your organization of the same guys working around each other and building on that. It's good for an organization. It means that things are clicking, and so I'm really excited. I'm so excited for Chandler because he's riding this momentum wave, that we're talking about of coming off of Phoenix and the trucks and the snowball. And I've been really waiting for that click with Chandler, and I think that this season for trucks for him, it's going to be a good one.
Aside from crashing out believe Las Vegas and then travels to Talladega, he had a quietly great Truck Series playoff. So if he can get a bit more consistency in the regular season, he'll be a true threat for the championship four once again. He won 2 of the last 5 races.
Go ahead.
I think the good thing for Zane Smith is he's going into a program where
Chandler Smith.
Or no, not Chandler Smith. Zane Smith.
Oh, Zane Smith.
Zane Smith.
We're talking about a different Smith now.
Okay.
I think the good
Chris changed the subject on it. That's the producer's option.
Well, yeah. Well, we were talking about Smiths, and something just popped in my head about championship contenders. The good thing about Zane Smith is that he is going to enter a program where he's the big cheese. There's nobody else he's got to compete with.
He doesn't have any teammates.
You know, that's a good point.
When you look at GMS, there was always 4 trucks that maybe somebody got a better truck like
about
Sheldon
half
Creed.
the series is teammates.
But with this, he's the only car. He's the only one getting the best parts at that
That's
team.
very true. That is very true. I never thought about that.
I think that this could be a better move than people might see on the surface for Zane Smith.
Yeah. On the other Smith that we were talking about, Chandler.
Back to the other one.
Back to Chandler Smith.
No, we're staying on. No,
I got cut off. No, what always kills me about Chandler is that he's younger than I am, and he's married, and he's like, I don't know. That just continuously
people
is
don't like you.
Well, I know, but like, come on, like, he's got a full-time truck gig.
We solved that problem in a hurry.
Got to cancel your Tinder account.
Yeah, I know. Well, maybe I need to start one. I need to start a Tinder.
Maybe you need to get with Jack and find out what works
I'm
for
gonna
his.
text Jack tonight. I'm gonna be like, look, give me some.
What's funny
secretly,
is-
don't tell your girlfriend that you're giving me tips on
Have you
Tinder.
noticed that ever since Jack was on our show and revealed he had a Tinder account, now every photo you see of his girlfriend's there with him?
Yes, yes.
That was probably part of the prenup.
He did say he got in trouble. So
He did. He said he got in trouble.
He dragged her to California.
But just to kind of comment about Chandler, they've been dating for quite a while, he and his now wife. And as Christians, they knew it was time, and they did it right. And I think that's, I really give Chandler a lot of credit for that. He is a really, he's a very Christian human being, and so when we get to the segment where we talk about Snowball and everybody says, well, that wasn't very Christian, we're talking about winning a race.
Right, yeah.
So let's not get
sure
carried away.
All
folks.
fall short.
I'm sure he prayed about it after. He probably he
We
prayed
all
about it
fall
after
short.
the fact. You do your sin, then you pray about it, and then that's
Yeah.
exactly how it works. That's what
Food,
it is.
religion.
Hey, listen.
You get it all here.
Dog breeds.
Dog breeds.
We'll talk about it all here. We are going to talk about Tyler Ingham in a little bit when we come back from the next break, because
Speaking of dogs. Oh, no, he has cows.
He's taking on a really big task.
More cows?
Well, probably. But more guests for his podcast.
More podcasts.
A micro
it depends
sprint.
on how much the signing bonus is how many more cows he can get.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, he also has a micro sprint now too, so he's got to take that
that's
into
right,
account.
yeah.
So he owns a sprint car now. So there's plenty more Truck Series news, and we'll get to all that when we come back from break. We are going to step aside right now, pay some bills, and mycomputercareer.edu is gracious enough to help us with that. And we'll be back with more of the Inside Pass right after this.
15 seconds. Bike ride, go fish, walk in the park, phone call, milkshake, play catch, picnic, fly a kite, tell jokes, laugh, talk, read a story, tell a story, bumper cars, swing set, bowling, pillow fight, cut loose, stay tight. Whew. Because the smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing, but not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. This breaks my heart, and it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and gives it to families in need. To help, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
How do airplanes fly? What's in this box? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Learn how to store your gun securely and make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
Hi, it's Olivia Munn with my shelter pets, Frankie and Chance, reminding you that when you adopt a shelter pet, you discover all the things that make them unique. Adopt Pure Love at theshelterpetproject.org.
Brought to you by the Ad Council, the Humane Society of the United States, and Maddie's Fund.
You hear that? That's the sound of America's only sports car. That's right. It's a Corvette. But not just any Corvette. It's your Corvette. It's that who cares if there's traffic part of your day. And this can be you when you come to Cooper Corvettes. With 60 years of Corvettes to choose from, there's always a Corvette in your budget. And they'll service any Corvette you bring in. Cooper Corvettes on Route 1 just north of Quantico and Triangle. Call, click, or visit coopercorvettes.com.
Wake up and text. Text and eat. Text and meet up with a friend you haven't seen in forever.
Hi.
Oh, hey. Text and complain that they're on their phone the whole time. Text and listen to them complain that you're on your phone the whole time. Text and whatever. But when you get behind the wheel, give your phone to a passenger. Put it in the glove box. Just don't text and drive. Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
How to deal with someone who says that's so gay. Outsmart them.
This party is like so gay. Totally.
Excuse me, but did you ladies know the word gay used to mean happy or excited? Then it became a word used to describe gay people. Then somehow it came to mean dumb or stupid, which is how you just used it, which is not very nice.
Ew, that guy is on the football team and super smart, and he totally hates us now. Totally.
When you say that's so gay, do you realize what you say? Knock it off. Learn more at thinkbeforeyouspeak.com.
Welcome back to the show. More Truck Series announcements
That's
here.
everybody's cue to go to the bathroom.
Well,
You know what's funny is I just thought about the Eagles are doing a tour right now that's called the Hotel California Tour, and it's actually, they're in Charlotte, I think.
They're doing the entire album live.
February or March, yeah.
That's the concert, is the entire album live, which is really cool. Well, part of it, yeah. And by the way, I did not miss Trans-Siberian Orchestra is actually coming into town this weekend.
Yes, so. I'm going.
Oh, are you?
Yes.
That's going to be fun.
He decided that today when I reminded him.
Yes, I thought it was this past weekend.
No, it's this coming weekend.
Yes.
Or if you're listening to us live, probably happening right now. But whatever. Yeah. If you're listening to us, you're probably missing the show. But whatever.
I'm not here. Yes. No, we come on at 9 a.m. in the morning Eastern time.
Anyway, back
continue.
to Truck Series news. I'll get to the couple of big ones here after the next big break. But Tate Fogelman's going to drive for On Point Motorsports.
He is
this upcoming year, the number 30 truck. So that's good news for him. And this morning, or I guess this afternoon, there was breaking news that Hill Motorsports is going to do a 2-truck effort. Timmy Hill will drive 1 truck. The other one is to be announced. So
wow, very nice. Good for him. That's a good announcement.
More trucks on the field. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, and look, the Hills are just great racers, and they're such underdogs all the time, and they wear that well. And they support NASCAR in as big a way as they can. So good to hear that, and I'm happy for the folks at On Point to Bones and the team at On Point that Tate gets that opportunity because, and again, nothing against Danny Bone, but he just never quite. The 1.5 miles just seemed to mystify him to a degree, and
Tate has a win under his belt.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, that's great for Tate as well because Tate, it's. I would argue that it is better equipment than what Young's Motorsports has. Again, resources are different, and so On Point gives him the opportunity to run steadily in the top 10 to 15 and top 5 at most tracks if he if they nail the setup for him and he drives the truck the way it should be driven.
That's true.
That's
Yep.
So
all right, we're gonna step aside, take a break. More Inside Pass right after this.
Here's an important message from RAD and this station.
Hi, this is Bob Sheehan from Blues Traveler for RAD, recording artists against drunk driving. I like to party just as much as the next guy, maybe even more. But the one thing I won't do after I've had a few is get in the car and drive. Don't blow it. Always choose a designated driver. Remember, music lives, and so should you.
Motorsports Sales Professionals. Performance Motorsports is looking to build a team of experienced media sales professionals to represent our programming to the industry's top companies, magazines, and racing series. If you have motorsports sales or marketing experience, know how to work with agencies, understand social media, and are incredibly creative when it comes to working with clients and promotions, then we want to hear from you. Top performers are richly rewarded. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444. That's 717-749-0444. Or email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. You want to ask for Sue.
You are a waste. A loser. Everyone hates you. Why don't you just stay in your car and keep driving? I'm serious. Drive until you run out of gas, then get out of your car and walk until you find someone who doesn't think you're dumber than bricks. Could take a while, but at least all that walking might burn a couple of calories.
You may not witness bullying like this every day. Your kids do. They want to help, but they don't know how. Visit stopbullying.gov to learn safe, simple ways your child can help stop bullying. Be more than a bystander at stopbullying.gov. A message from the Ad Council.
You own a performance car and you know how to drive, but you want to learn real performance driving. Well, Bunky, get that car off the street and onto the track. Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier road racing facility, located just over an hour from D.C. in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, is the place to go. And you'll find that Friday at the Track is going to give you what you need. For less than a monthly car payment, you can attend this regularly scheduled one-day instructional event in your street car on one of Summit Point's 3 world-class road racing circuits. You'll receive classroom instruction, skid pad instruction in their cars, including front and rear skid control, and 4 20-minute in-your-car instructional sessions from a professional instructor. Have fun, go fast, and really learn how to drive. Call 304-725-8444 for class schedules and details. That's 304-725-8444. Friday at the Track at Summit Point Motorsports Park. The Performance Motorsports Network is a compilation of shows about motorsports. From technical to controversial to just fun, everything you like about racing and gearhead stuff is right here on one internet channel. The Performance Motorsports Network. Tell your friends about it.
And now your weather on the ones forecast.
What in the world?
I used to be able to play this.
Oh, that's right. Chris used to be a sax player. Yeah.
That explains a lot. Anyway, let's talk about...
It does explain a lot.
Does it? You know what?
You better watch it, or I was going to say,
done.
there you go.
You're done.
See, you're
Tom,
going to get.
We have a gracious sponsor for us here that we're going to talk about this segment called My Computer Career. And maybe you can convince me enough to reboot Randy's mic before we get to the 10 minutes.
I don't know if I want to. I kind of like being the lead dog now. Anyways, but yes, look, here's the thing about My Computer Career. If you are looking for a new career, whether it is a first career or a fifth career, it doesn't matter. My Computer Career may be your answer. My Computer Career is IT training. IT is a field that is still in a position where there is far more demand for qualified employees than there is supply of those employees. That puts you in a very favorable position when it comes to being able to come right out of the training and into a job and a better life. So here's how this works. Go to mycomputercareer.edu. Take the free career evaluation. Did I mention it was free? That means it doesn't cost anything. Take a look at it. Take the evaluation. If you decide to go forward with the training, financial aid is available if you're eligible, including the GI Bill, and mycomputercareer.edu will work with you all the way through the process, training just 1 to 2 days a week online. You don't have to leave your house. It's great. You don't even have to go to their campuses. But if you want to, they have 7 different campuses around the country. It can be done online 1 to 2 days a week, and in just 4 to 6 months, you could be on your way to a new career and a better life. And when you're ready to go out in the workforce, guess what? My Computer Career will work with hundreds of employers to get you placed. And on top of all of that, you will have free, did I mention free, lifetime job placement assistance. You cannot go wrong with this. You don't have to be a math and science nerd. You don't have to be a computer nerd. My Computer Career, training for a better life. We love those guys. And by the way, go check out helpingheroes.org. Helpingheroes.org, the work that My Computer Career does with that nonprofit and first responders and troops. Just fantastic. It's a great opportunity for you. Helpingheroes.org.
Yep, and we have more Truck Series news when we come back. The second half of the show starts right after this.
And you know how to drive, but you want to learn real performance driving. Well, Bunky, get that car off the street and onto the track. Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier road racing facility, located just over an hour from D.C. in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, is the place to go. And you'll find that Friday at the Track is going to give you what you need. For less than a monthly car payment, you can attend this regularly scheduled one-day instructional event in your street car on one of Summit Point's 3 world-class road racing circuits. You'll receive classroom instruction, skid pad instruction in their cars, including front and rear skid control, and 4 20-minute in-your-car instructional sessions from a professional instructor. Have fun, go fast, and really learn how to drive. Call 304-725-8444 for class schedules and details. That's 304-725-8444. Friday at the Track at Summit Point Motorsports Park.
Green light. Hey, girl. School zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ball in street? Girl in street!
It's hard to concentrate on 2 things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Here's an important message from RAD and this station. Hi, this is Bob Sheehan from Blues Traveler for RAD, recording artists against drunk driving. I like to party just as much as the next guy, maybe even more. But the one thing I won't do after I've had a few is get in the car and drive. Don't blow it. Always choose a designated driver. Remember, music lives, and so should you.
Automotive technicians and auto service trainees, how would you like to work at the beach and perform for one of the best car care centers in the nation? Louis Meineke is now looking for skilled automotive technicians to join their award-winning team. If you're a gearhead that knows his or her stuff, or a young up-and-comer that has the motivation and drive to succeed, then you need to make this call today. 302-827-2054. Louis Meineke Car Care Center, located in beautiful Lewis, Delaware, offers a highly competitive compensation plan, great benefits, a flexible schedule, and did we mention that you're going to be working at the beach? Plus, there's a signing bonus for the right candidates. Technicians must be ASE certified and have a minimum of 6 years experience. Beginners advance at your own pace in one of several entry-level positions. But whatever you do, don't wait. These jobs will go fast. Call Tim at 302-827-2054. That's 302-827-2054. Louis Meineke Car Care Center. Rev up your career.
Welcome back to the Inside Pass, and we are going to continue talking about trucks because, like I said, there were plenty of announcements this past week. We started talking about Tyler Ankrum earlier in the show, and him and Zane Smith were teammates, and now they've gone their separate ways, and now Tyler's going into a really big deal because he's going to take over Austin Hill's number 16 truck. That is a Hattori Racing Enterprises truck that he will now have a teammate in because now they're going to have 2 trucks in the field as Chase Pretty moves over from GMS. I guess that was essentially his teammate too.
Yeah.
So he's getting one of his teammates back. But this is Tyler's a great guy, great competitor, and a fantastic racer. This, I mean, if he doesn't succeed this time, Tom, then I don't know what's left for him because this is probably one of arguably the best truck teams out there.
I actually would have thought it would have been cool if he'd gone where Zane Smith went, over the front row, because Tyler's foray initially into trucks was through DGR,
right?
And he made the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so I thought that would have been like apropos if he had moved over there. The next best thing he could have done is exactly what he just did, move over to Hattori. That is championship pedigree equipment, and again, he keeps a teammate with Chase Purdy. They're about the same age. They've had very similar experience. And I think, again, I agree totally. This is Tyler's best shot here. And I think the last year or two, for whatever reason, he just never quite figured out the Chevy. He kind of got the Toyota program in his head while he was with DGR, and then goes over to Chevy and just kind of didn't ever quite get it there, and couldn't duplicate the feel. So I think this brings him back home. And if you don't know Tyler, go follow him on Instagram. He is one of the funniest drivers. He's got that sort of very dry sense of humor. He's an old soul, drives an old El Camino, has the cowboy boots. He's kind of just a really, really just an entertaining guy.
He hasn't breathed in 4 years because of those Sense jeans he wears.
Yeah. And he's got, Railblazer and
Leuna.
Leuna, that he has as sponsors are both great sponsors for the sport. So I think this really, to me, rejuvenates Tyler's career, this move.
And I think that TRD is above, far and away, driver's edge development when it comes to the stuff they offer their drivers, when it comes to, the fitness program they have over there and some of the media training and stuff that they offer. And I've heard so many good things about the Toyota simulator and how available it is to their drivers. So I think Tyler moving back into the TRD camp, like you said, it'll make him feel like he's back at home, because I think all of the amenities that TRD gave him while he was at DGR really allowed him to expand his driver knowledge and really help get him to the playoffs. So I think him getting back in that stable will help him out a lot.
Yeah, and also we have to mention, because we were talking about all his branding and stuff like that, if you have not checked out him sitting in the middle of the pasture with the cows.
Pasture thoughts.
On his farm.
Pasture thoughts. You need to do that. And I just, whenever I think of Tyler now, I cannot see anything but him just sitting in the middle of the pasture. So yeah,
what's funny
I'm so
is
for him
it looks like if we tried to do that, we would look really out of place. Tyler doesn't look out of place at all in the middle of a field
like
with
he's right
cows
at home.
hanging off the set. You can imagine sort of the odor that could be going on during that show, right? But you see Tyler in, like, he did an episode with Haley Deegan,
right?
And it was kind of like they're sitting there in the middle of the pasture, and Haley looks so out of place, and Tyler looks so natural, but they made it work. It was great.
I am excited for Tyler, and I'm excited. Like we've talked about, it's kind of like a factory reset in a way for him. Let's put the past few years a little bit behind us. They weren't as up to where he wanted to be. But like you said, Randy, I mean, this team that he is going into is one that has really proven success, and so I'm really interested to see now that he's their kind of top driver over there, what he does in that 16 truck.
Well, and to me, it goes back to what I was talking about with Zane Smith.
Yeah,
Tyler had to compete with his teammates, maybe for some equipment. With him, he's scaling back to a 2-car team, more resources available for those 2 cars, where maybe it wasn't available for him at GMS because they were going 4 trucks deep. So I think, again, this could be a really good move for him, because he's not having to compete for maybe the best equipment at GMS every week. He's going to get it along with Chase Purdy at Hattori when there's just 2 cars. I think there's something to be said when teams or drivers scale back to just focus on themselves rather than being in a huge multi-truck organization like you have. I think it'll benefit him very well.
And he's definitely in the top truck of that organization.
Absolutely. I just love the look of that paint scheme, the black and the orange. It looks really good together. It looks great under the lights.
I also don't think, when you say he's in the top truck, it's always kind of, because they've had a 1-truck organization a lot in the past. This is a 2-truck. I don't think Chase Purdy's going to lack for equipment. It's going to be the same.
Right. Yeah.
And Chase, again, best opportunity he's going to have too. And a full-time run for him. So this Randy, to me, just is one of those teams. I think you got to look at them as you cannot fall asleep on Hattori Racing next year.
I think Tyler's going to make Chase better just because of,
Yes.
even though they're the same age, Tyler has the experience already that Chase does not.
Of course.
So just them working together and Chase being able to ask Tyler questions, and Tyler already having experience running in the Toyota before. is really. I think that's going to be a sleeper team. I think.
I also want to clarify my statement by saying I'm not saying that GMS is picking favorites and giving a truck better equipment over another.
It's just destined to happen. There's 4 trucks.
It happens, and it's easier to keep equipment, fresh and updated, and keep an eye on everything that's going on when it's a 2-car or 2-truck team.
You wear your resources thin when you start having more and more.
Well,
I'm not saying that GMS is picking favorites.
No, it's a valid point. And
let me ask Leighton. I'm just kidding.
Even with crew chiefs, okay, even with crew chiefs, with a 2-truck team, if something's not working, it's easier to make a change than you got 4 trucks or 5 trucks, or even they ran 6 a couple times. It was like, it just gets to be a bit much, and a lot of it's almost too much data. So I think it's a better situation all the way around for Tyler and Chase. And I think that's, like I said, don't fall asleep on Hattori Racing in 22.
We finally reached the end of the truck series. We do have one more thing, but
I was going to say
I want to say too. I went to Tyler's Twitter page just now, and one of the most recent things he tweeted was, at NASA, there's a UFO over my house, ? and then he puts us a picture of a black screen, and that just sums up Tyler, right?
Exactly.
And then the comment is like, no, that's just Hattori Racing now watching over your cows, but it's just
that's funny. Well, we talked about DGR, Crossley, and speaking of DGR, they're going to run 3 full-time trucks this upcoming year. We already know that Tanner Gray is going to drive one of those trucks. We think that Haley Deegan is going to drive the second one. That's not official yet. And the third truck, we know that Taylor Gray will run 9 races in the truck. We don't know who all else is going to be in the truck. Last year they had Ryan Priest and a bunch of other drivers running it. So I'm sure it's going to be a carousel of drivers running that truck at some point in time this year. But that's their announcement so far.
Also very happy for Haley getting most popular driver, because she's done a lot with her YouTube channel and her brand to be more accessible to the fans.
It's because she was on.
Well, especially in one of
past your thoughts, yeah.
Especially in one of the most hard times to be accessible to fans with everything going on. She was able to make a YouTube channel, a whole new club, and everything. She did a lot to be there in a difficult time of year.
Cal votes count twice.
Well, let's face it too. I mean, it's not a stretch to imagine that Haley, much like Danica was very, it's not a stretch to imagine that Haley gets most popular. And not that I'm
she has assets that other people don't have.
Well, and she does do a great job on her social media. She is very, very connected, and I like seeing that. It's going to be did we lose Noah? It's going to be an interesting. It's going to be an interesting season this year because I feel like, again, year 2,
practice and qualifying,
right? Yeah. So if she's going to step up, this is the year she's going to do it, and I wouldn't be surprised at all to see her win a race.
I wouldn't be surprised to see her in any Xfinity starts this upcoming season too, because that's something.
Speaking of most popular driver, we will mention Justin Allgaier won the Xfinity Series driver of the year award, and Chase Elliott, to nobody's surprise, won Cup Series most popular driver. All right, we're going to step aside and take a break. We'll have more. We'll talk F1 in a second when we come back, because there's a lot of stuff there too. More Inside Pass right after this.
Parents, your son or daughter has had their license for a while now, but you want to make sure they're prepared for any situation they may face on the road. High school driver's ed doesn't teach them to drive defensively. They need to be prepared for any highway emergency. For less than a month's insurance, and a whole lot less, BSR instructors at Summit Point Motorsports Park in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, will teach your son or daughter how to respond instantly and positively to unexpected situations on the road. BSR's specialized accident avoidance training teaches swerve to avoid maneuvers at highway speeds, ocular driving, which focuses driving attention on ways to avoid accidents, vehicle dynamics and feedback, skid control and skid recovery, threshold braking on straights and progressive braking on curves, and off-road recovery techniques. This is stuff driver's ed simply doesn't teach. So call BSR today, 304-725-8444. Give your kid the skill set needed to drive safely and responsibly on the highway. That's 304-725-8444.
You hear that? That's the sound of America's only sports car. That's right, it's a Corvette. But not just any Corvette. It's your Corvette. It's that who cares if there's traffic part of your day. And this can be you when you come to Cooper Corvettes. With 60 years of Corvettes to choose from, there's always a Corvette in your budget. And they'll service any Corvette you bring in. Cooper Corvettes on Route 1 just north of Quantico and Triangle. Call, click, or visit CooperCorvettes.com.
Victory Custom Trailers is the place to go for your next new or used trailer or coach. Being personally involved in the racing community allows Victory to fully understand what racers need in a trailer. They have over 200 coaches and trailers in stock for a variety of industries, and they can serve anyone in the continental U.S. If you're looking for something custom, they can assist in designing a trailer to fit your needs. Check out their entire inventory online at victorycustomtrailers.com.
Hi, this is John Ondrasik of Five for Fighting, here for RAD, the entertainment industry's voice for road safety. You know, style is a personal thing, and your lifestyle is your business. But if you take it on the road, it becomes everybody's business. So please, plan ahead, designate before you celebrate. Friends, don't let friends drive drunk.
A public service announcement brought to you by RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
When Marlon Shirley was 5 years old, he was in an accident and lost his foot, but he didn't lose his heart.
When you tackle a challenge that you just cannot even fathom tackling, when you accomplish that, the amount of integrity and the will and the heart that you'll get from that experience is what will set you up for your life.
In less time than it took Marlon Shirley to say that, he can now run 100 meters because today he's the world's fastest amputee. Overcome it. Pass it on from the Foundation for a Better Life at Values.com.
Max, 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 Super Max, Max, Super, Super Max, 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 Super Max, Max, Super, Super Max, 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 Super Max, Max, Super, Super Max, 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 Super Max, Max. Ik mis geen race, heb scheid aan mijn centen.
Chris has been waiting all night to play that song because he wanted to wait for us to talk about F1.
The funny part is he didn't think I'd know the song, and I don't know who does it or anything. But
it's some Dutch group.
I've heard the song, and the first time I heard it, I thought they were saying Super Mutts, like it was a song about dogs. That's what I was.
It's a song about Max Verstappen.
Yes, yes, I get it now. It's just the first time I heard it, it sounded like
the first time I heard it was when he won the Belgium Grand Prix, and they played it over the loudspeaker as he came across and all the fireworks.
See, I never heard it like in a racing situation, so I just thought it was a song, and that's what I said. I thought it was Super Mutts.
So we do have some more NASCAR news. We'll talk about that in a little bit. I want us to talk about F1 for a minute because, guys, we had the perfect storm has actually happened, and I'm not going to give Nick the group credit for this.
I don't know if you ask Max or Lewis the same thing. They would say that the perfect storm has happened.
Well, that's true, but
if you give Nick credit, he'll charge us more for his next appearance.
Nick did come on the show a few weeks ago and say there is a possibility that we could go into Abu Dhabi with a tie atop the standings, and lo and behold, my lord, that's exactly what happened. They are tied. Verstappen and Lewis are exactly tied at 369.5 because of the half points that they got during the monsoon. So they go into now. Max is showing on top because he has 9 wins to Lewis's 8. But in terms of points, they are exactly tied going into the final race at Abu Dhabi. Is it this weekend or next weekend?
It's this weekend.
Is it this weekend?
Yeah.
This weekend.
So we will know next show who won the championship. Man, we talked all season long about how incredible of a season this has been, and you can't write a better ending to this story than what we have right now.
Yeah, how convenient that F1 penalizes Max 15 points over the course of the race, and knowing full well that no, I'm not saying they fixed it, but I am. Somebody's got to have the conspiracy theory, right?
Mm-hmm. That would be us.
Now,
that's what we do.
With
it was just so weird how that all transpired, though.
Well,
it had to be a perfect storm. Everything had to line up exactly right. Lewis had to get the fastest lap point, and like everything had to happen the way it happened.
Max had to let him by, then he didn't technically let him by because he got hit in the rear, and then he let him by, but then he still got penalized.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
So for those of you who didn't watch the race, there was an incident where Max had passed Lewis off the track, gaining an advantage and making the pass, and the FIA had instructed Max to give the position back. Well, Max was trying to be strategic and let him go right before they got to the DRS zone.
Correct.
So he would get DRS as Lewis passed and be able to slingshot back by him. Well, what had happened is Max slowed up a lot because there was a big gap. There was like a 2-second gap between him and Lewis. So he had to slow up a lot. Well, Lewis slowed up as well, rode behind him, and then just ran in the back of him, and Max took off again. and Mercedes and Lewis screamed on the radio that he was brake testing Lewis when Mercedes
they called it dangerous driving.
Knew full well that they were, and there was so much room to the inside, so much room where Lewis could have just went around.
You could have fit a small country in that hole.
But instead, Lewis slowed up, ran into the back of them, and ran into the back of Max, and then screamed that he brake tested him. When Max even swerved to the right to get out of the way, and Lewis still hit him. So I don't get how it's
and
brake
just
testing.
to set up again, like how that happened. When they went down into, I can't remember what corner or turn it was.
I think it was turns 1 and 2.
Yeah. Lewis was very angled anyway when they went down in there side by side. And of course, with the track and how it is there, if you're in that situation, you're just going to probably end up riding across like what Max did. However, the angle on the replay, someone drew a line next to Lewis's car, and he's like going straight for. There's no room for Max to ever turn, So it's like even that was to me something that should have been looked at further, because it's like, look, yes, Max did not. He left the racing surface. He kind of had an advantage by going that direction. However, what's the alternative to not doing that? Is probably them getting together and him missing the turn. So.
Sounds like Roadrunner and Coyote.
Yeah.
Also, the FIA and Formula One have a rule where you can't slow up more than 10 car lengths during a safety car. Well, Valtteri Bottas pretty much brake checked Max Verstappen to let Lewis come into the pits during a safety car and get out, which caused Max to not be able to pit. And F1 did nothing about that. And also, the other safety car, Lewis slowed up more than 10 car lengths and basically stopped on the track to warm up his tires. The FIA continued to do nothing about that, but Max gets run off the track and he gets penalized for brake testing.
It is very obvious to me at this point that the folks at F1 want Lewis to win the title. That is just overwhelmingly obvious that they're doing everything possible to take the title away from Max. And I'm people are going to argue with this and you're a conspiracy theorist. It's what I see, because both of those penalties for Max over the weekend were pure unadulterated horse crap.
Yeah.
I mean, and this is the ticky-tack stuff that FIA's been making up all year. He goes and touches the back of Lewis's car, and we're going to, come on, people. And Chris, you saw a quote from Max that he had basically...
Max was understandably not very happy.
He shouldn't be
at the end of the race.
He left the podium without celebrating, of course, because he had nothing to celebrate.
He also won Driver of the Day that day, and in his Driver of the Day interview, he pretty much said, and I'm going to paraphrase because I don't have the quote in front of me. He said, "I'm glad that the fans have an idea of what racing is like, because what we saw today was unbelievable. This sport is more like penalties than it is racing.
Yeah.
To me, this is not F1."
Yeah. He's from what we saw, he's right, and not even to just say that maybe they're wanting Lewis to have, but I like the first conspiracy. Maybe they really wanted this race to come down to the one where they're tied.
What I'm saying.
For but it's like, gosh, why? It's obvious there are so many instances where. It should have been considered differently and looked at differently. And there were instances that didn't even involve Max and involved Lewis that did not, see penalties.
And nobody cares.
And when they were really disputing that first after the safety car restart, where I think Perez turned across Leclerc and caused that big mess.
Right.
I didn't see that part.
Max got the lead off of that start, and then the safety car came out. Well, as they were looking at it, it was another instance where Lewis just basically gave him no room to turn. They were side by side going into the first corner.
Yep.
Lewis gave him no room to turn, and Max went off the track. And then I think Esteban Ocon just came shooting through there, which was amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they still penalized Max and said for him to go back. And when you're side by side like that going into turn one, and it's close like that where you can't really tell somebody's intent whether they're going to go off the track or get run off. I was talking to one of my friends. I said, if I'm the FIA here, I don't interfere.
Yeah.
You let them race. You do not
got forced
interfere.
off.
You don't interfere in a championship battle when the call, as Tom likes to point out, is ticky tack.
Yeah.
You don't interfere in championship races, which is exactly what they did this past weekend by giving Max, I think, a total of 10 seconds.
I can't wait for this movie. I cannot wait.
There should be a movie.
Lewis Hamilton is their golden boy, and there's just no question because Lewis.
Because he's getting ready to break a record.
Exactly. I think Lewis could do almost anything on track, and he won't get penalized. No, there's never a penalty on Lewis Hamilton ever.
I think Kevin Harvick years ago said something about Jimmy Johnson and a golden horseshoe. I think that applies to Lewis Hamilton.
Lewis is
even more so.
And listen, and I'm not disrespecting Lewis. Lewis is one of the best ever to sit in an F1 car. So this is not some sort of I don't like Lewis. It's just what I see because they make up reasons to penalize Max Verstappen. And I think it's because Max is a little bit sort of aggressive and a little bit, exciting. And F1 hates that.
And for
which is so mind-boggling.
For
Lewis incentive for the same
for
reasons.
Lewis to do the same dangerous tactics
get away with
that
it.
Max does, and then go in his interview and pretty much call out Max for being dangerous and being a dirty
I know,
driver.
that's what kills
crazy.
me the most, is just the hypocrisy in terms of post-race.
It's just unbelievable. But again, that's why I said I'm not saying that F1 purposefully did math and rigged it to be a tie. But it was F1 who created the tie with these two just ridiculous penalties that
Max would have won that. But Max would have won that race and pretty much sealed the deal going into Abu Dhabi if he would not have. He wouldn't have given
it would be over.
As a racing, stock car racing, short track racing fan, I just wait for the moment, and for some reason in my head I feel like it would happen, and I know it won't. But I cannot imagine how they stand next to each other on the podium and don't just start going at it.
Could you imagine if they both wreck?
Yeah, if they wreck, Max gets the tiebreaker.
Yeah, Max gets the tiebreaker.
So the ball's in his court.
They could easily wreck out.
Yeah.
No, if he just turns right into Lewis turn one this weekend.
No, because then he'll be penalized. But so long that he makes it look like Lewis caused it, then they won't penalize anything. So
I don't know how you do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Lewis has caused it several times, and Max still gets the penalty.
That would take a lot.
I don't know if that scenario exists.
Quick note, whatever. Before I'm making up words in my head
My
too.
computer
The No Dictionary
reboot.
Before we go to break, Formula 2 ace Jack Aiken will test for Ed Carpenter Racing as ECR tries to replace Ryan Hunter-Reay over in the IndyCar series. So another potential Formula 1 guy going over to the IndyCar world.
Jack Aiken is a beast. That would be a great addition to the series. And by the way, get well soon Enzo Fittipaldi. He and Theo Porcher, a terrible crash in the F2 race over there in Saudi Arabia. Enzo with a fractured heel. Thank God that neither of them were hurt worse than that.
Yep, that is
also,
true.
before we go to break, great event put on by Saudi Arabia. Beautiful racetrack, fast track. It was amazing.
Absolutely.
All right, we're going to step
100%.
aside, take a break. More Inside Pass right after this.
Like most people, even if it's an emergency, you can be confident about who will arrive to help you. For quality and reliability, count on someone you can trust. Call on the plumbing services of Hague Quality Water of Maryland. Plumbing doesn't have to be an emergency. We handle all kinds of preventative maintenance too. Hague Quality Water of Maryland is family owned here in Annapolis since 1993. For a refreshing choice, call us at 888-84-WATER or visit us online.
Here at Lewis Meineke, we're more than just your average car care center. Hey, it's Dave, your neighbor from Lewis Meineke. Whether you need an oil change, brakes, tires, or anything under the hood, we've got you covered. Take advantage of our free check engine light service as well. Yes, free. And don't forget about our free shuttle service. Never stress, we'll take care of the rest. On with life. Give us a call at Lewis Meineke, 302-827-2054.
Victory Custom Trailers is the place to go for your next new or used trailer or coach. Being personally involved in the racing community allows Victory to fully understand what racers need in a trailer. They have over 200 coaches and trailers in stock for a variety of industries, and they can serve anyone in the continental U.S. If you're looking for something custom, they can assist in designing a trailer to fit your needs. Check out their entire inventory online at victorycustomtrailers.com.
Do you love the sound of high revving motors and the smell of burning rubber? Do you want to get your car sideways right at the ragged edge of control? If you've always wanted to try drifting or learn to improve your drifting skills, Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier motorsports facility, has the expert instructors and the specialized track to teach you how to drift and the skills necessary to drift competitively. From skid pad to open sessions, Summit Point Motorsports Park has the safe and open environment that allows drifters of all skill levels, new to intermediate, to get sideways and smoking. With a focus on safety and the skill set necessary to drift competitively, Summit Point Motorsports Park's Drift Nirvana is just the thing for you. Call for your reservation today, 304-725-8444. Or for more information, go online, summitpoint-raceway.com, or you can email them at office@bsrinc.com. Drift Nirvana, getting you sideways the right way.
If you own a gun, you have a full-time responsibility. When you aren't using it, be sure it can't get into the hands of curious children, troubled teenagers, a thief, or anyone else who might misuse it. Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. Remember, always, lock it up. For more information on firearm storage safety, visit ncpc.org. This message brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to the Inside Pass. A few more little news and notes before we get out of here. We have 14, 15, 16. I can't do the math in my head. A few more minutes left of the show.
Some sort of minutes.
Some sort of mess left of the show. I was trying to calculate how many exact moments we have, but
all right, you're just
I can't do math.
It's decreasing by the second.
It is decreasing by the second. So the Gateway Dirt Nationals were held over the weekend. Tyler Carpenter won the late model portion of the event, and by virtue of winning, he gets to run the niche truck at Knoxville in August. So good for him being able to, I guess, get a dirt ringer to run the Knoxville race. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good opportunity. It was a neat promotion and a great opportunity for him to show what he can do on the dirt. I mean, it's not. He's going to be getting into a truck, which is nothing like what he won with at Gateway, but it's a neat opportunity.
Everybody be on level playing field there based on what happened last year.
Yeah, really.
Exactly. One of us can enter that race and possibly win.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that.
Well, I can't, but maybe one of you can. Although that was most of my career racing on dirt.
Our good friend Davey Hamilton Jr., who was on the show a few weeks ago, went down to, he lives in Florida. He drove an asphalt sprint car and won this past weekend, so congratulations to him.
Yeah, he had a second last week and then picked up the win this week. Just, again, kind of the second chance, a rebirth to his career, and he's got some interesting announcements coming up for next year, so I'm excited for him. He's really worked hard to get things back on track for himself, so great win for him.
That was a fantastic show.
Yes,
with him on it.
Yes, it was. Yeah, if you missed that show, just go to the Inside Pass Live.
InsidePassLive.com.
InsidePassLive.com.
Or you search for it on social media, wherever your favorite podcasting sites, and take a listen to that interview that he was here a few weeks ago for.
Yes.
So we always talk about the Dell Jr. Download on our show. We love the Dell Jr. Download. It's very informative, a very great podcast, aside from ours, of course. But nonetheless, Kevin Harvick was the latest guest on his show, and he had some very interesting things to say about a lot of things. But when they brought up the topic of Chase Elliott, Kevin's not over everything that Chase did this past year, basically telling Dale Jr. that he feels like Chase cost him and the team thousands of dollars in prize money because apparently their team gets paid when they win, and he feels like Chase cost him a win, which therefore cost his team thousands of dollars, and blatantly told Dale Jr. the feud is not over.
Well, to be clear, what he was talking about was if you're on a team like a Hendrick Motorsports team or a Stuart Haas, those teams, he's not talking about the driver or even just the crew. The entire team gets a bonus when the car wins. Okay, so in his mind, when Chase did what he did at Bristol, it cost the Harvick team, those guys that worked so hard. So you have to, I love the quote here, fight for your team. Now, here's what I think is funny. Kevin Harvick is the same driver who came into, and again, I'm paraphrasing what he said on the download, came into Richard Childress Racing. Of course, he was brought up and replaced Dale Earnhardt when Dale was in the crash at Daytona and was killed. They put Kevin in the car. Kevin was supposed to drive the 30 car, which I did not know, but he was the original driver of the American Online car. And this is a guy who comes in and immediately starts basically, all of Dale's personal, sponsors and whatever, and he comes in and goes, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that like Dale. I don't like that one. And it basically said, I didn't really get along real well with those guys because they were all Dale's age and whatever, and I was 25 and I wanted to race with the guys I wanted to race with. And I'm going, holy cow, man. How arrogant do you have to be to come into that situation? I can't believe he said that on the download and admitted publicly what a complete arrogant horses behind he was back then, and he still is. And that's why he says this feud is not over when Chase thinks it is. There's no reason. He says there needs to be one more conversation before. It's like, Kevin, shut up.
It's so confusing too, because Kevin literally
shut up.
Right, he said to the press after all the stuff went down that it was the only bit of feud left was on Chase's side, right? And he's blaming Chase for everything. Then he wrecks Chase at the Roval.
Blatantly, because he has to fight for his team. Okay?
Yeah, Chase is coming through. Yeah, fight for his team. Now you're costing Chase's team how many thousands of dollars? And you cost him how many thousands of dollars when you hit his tire at Martinsville? Anyway, that's neither here nor there.
What a yo-yo.
Yeah, Chase is over here like, I don't, I did my piece. I got what I needed. And he's over it, right? And so what Harvick is grumpy about is that the only burnout he got to do this year was the one on the burnouts in Broadway for Nashville this year.
Which was voted the winner, oddly enough.
Yeah, he was the winner.
His one win this year.
Yeah, I found it funny. I think it was Kyle Busch or somebody on stage. It was like, well, no wonder he's going to win this one because it's the only one he got to do this year. So he got to make the most of it, but... It's
incredible.
Yeah, it's interesting. You guys are spoiling it for me because I'm waiting till I have a 3-hour or 5-hour drive home in a few weeks.
Yeah, because that is a 3-hour
episode. So I was like, this will be perfect.
But it's worth every penny.
People will do anything to stay relevant, and I guess that's Kevin Harvick's way of trying to stay relevant.
He looks like a college professor. If I saw him at the banquet, and he looked like a college professor.
By the way, the best part of that show wasn't even Kevin Harvick. It was Dale Jr. and Mike Davis talking about midlife crisis.
Oh, gosh.
Gotta hear that.
Oh, gosh.
We are just scratching the surface of everything they went into. Please go listen to that show.
Don't spoil it.
People have to listen to us for 2 hours. Imagine doing a third hour. We'd be off the air.
Oh, yeah, because I'm pretty sure we would talk about all kinds of stuff in the third hour.
We just filled the other hour with more.
We used to do 3 kind of hours, but it was 2 shows.
Yeah, I was going to say
true.
2 shows.
We just repeated ourselves for the first hour of the second show. So speaking of the burnouts, I thought it was really cool of the Penske guys to do theirs together.
Yeah, they called it an Iron Lotus, which I thought was awesome.
Yeah, and Ryan doing theirs together. That was pretty cool.
Not part of the plan, by the way.
Speaking of the Penske driver.
Well, that's why I brought that up, because there was a new survey that was done recently. Apparently, USA Today puts one out every year amongst the drivers who get to vote on certain things about things that they don't like. And Joey Logano's name came up quite a bit in that survey. He was voted as the most unliked driver in the garage area because they voted him most frustrating to race against and most likely to bump you out of the way to win. And the funny thing about that is 2 of those votes came from his old teammate, Brad Keselowski, who voted him
to win. How did he get to vote twice?
Well, in both categories.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Well, Logano this year alone has cost Keselowski a Daytona 500. So if I'm Brad, I understand why he'd vote that way.
Here's my deal with this. I said this earlier on a Facebook post. Somebody was talking about how Chandler Smith won the Snowball Derby this past weekend with a bump and run, basically. It's like, I said, the fan base in stock cars in the South is so entertaining because Dale Earnhardt won 7 championships using the bumper, and he's still idolized like he's some sort of god. Joey Logano touches a car and everybody screams. What Joey needs to do is grow a mustache, a cowboy hat, and put some fancy sunglasses on, and then maybe it'll be okay.
To cover up that gigantic hole in his head where the hair used to be.
It's just...
Low blow. No,
I feel a new sponsor coming on in Joey's future. But yes,
Bosley.
it's Bosley Hair Club for Men. Derek Cope used to have that.
Just
What was it?
for men.
Relicor?
Didn't really help him out.
Say worked wonders for him, didn't it?
Relicor saved Derek's hair. Maybe they can do something for Joey. But anyways, I just think that's hilarious that people voted him.
What?
He's one of the classiest
Yeah.
guys. It was the
Yes.
best champion that we've had in a
And
long time. People hate him because he's from Massachusetts and he's not a
and
Southerner.
also just because Joey in the car, in the driver's seat, is such a different Joey than
Kyle's
the
called him
minute
two-faced.
the minute he gets out of the car, and I commend him for it because the aggressiveness that Joey puts on is I don't care what you're gonna do. This is how we're gonna race. But he gets out of the car and he's just the nicest, kind of
Steve Phelps,
fun going guy.
Steve Phelps was on the I Am Athlete podcast.
A few weeks ago.
Talking about NASCAR.
Wow.
And
Really?
He's not an athlete.
I was going to say he ain't an athlete. That's a mismatch.
And he brought up Joey Logano and that very point where he said, Joey is great. He's an ambassador for the sport. He does a lot for charity. He's one of the most humble guys you'll see when you're talking to him in person. But Joey inside the car couldn't give a rat's behind what anybody thinks about what he's doing.
Joey,
because he just wants to win.
Yes, and Joey will tell you that he understands if he does it to somebody, it's coming back eventually.
Yeah, right.
Okay. And again, Dale Earnhardt used to say the same thing. And it's just so funny how hypocritical people are when it comes to Joey. I think Joey's a classy guy, and I love the fact that he takes no quarter on the track. And again, Kevin Harvick does it. Oh, that's fine. Joey does it. We can't.
I will never forget my first.
It's just hilarious.
I will never forget my first interaction with Joey Logano when I first moved here. It was at the 2018 media tour.
Yes, I was there with you.
And he was scheduled to go up and speak in the video room, and we were standing outside taking a break. And he just comes up with an apple.
Yes,
eating an apple.
Just
chatting away, just like, hey, how's
it
everybody
going?
doing?
Yeah. And just so you guys know, obviously Brad voted, as for him in some of those categories. But they are great friends off the track. And that just further proves that Brad understands and acknowledges this is Joey in the race car. This is Joey away from the race car. They randomly show up to each other's houses and crash their pools and things like that. Apparently, Joey's building a new house, so Brad said he's going to be returning the favor soon. So I guess you return it on and off the racetrack for Joey too.
And that's the thing. Like, again, the fan base is who drives a lot of that, right? And it's always been very WWE. So if they like you, they let you get away with murder. If they don't like you, you can't sneeze on somebody because you become, the biggest jerk in the garage. And it's just so funny how that happens, and so entertaining. And Joey really takes it all in stride, which is why I loved Joey so much for the way that he just sort of lets it roll off his back. Yeah. And yet, again, as Chris pointed out, Joey does so much for the sport that never gets talked about because he doesn't brag about it.
That is true. All right, we've got one more. This is kind of an interesting conundrum that Colleague Racing posted the other day on Facebook, asking the question that if you were offered $16 million, if you could beat AJ Allmendinger at the Roval in a 10-lap dash, where AJ starts 1 lap down, would you do it? However, if you lose the race, you could never watch sports again.
Sign me up. I would do it. I would do it in a heartbeat. Sign me up. Easy. I'd win easy. Because as he comes to lap me, I'd just junk him in the wall and continue my 10 laps and get my $16 million.
I guess there is no rules, so yeah. I guess you could.
There is. It did not say that AJ had to be
running. As he comes to lap me, as I'm 10 seconds off the pace.
Wow.
You better just junk him and keep on going.
You better time that perfectly.
I want this put out front and center that Chris Murdoch is a huge Joey Logano fan. So you see where this comes from, right?
Imagine though that you missed that opportunity, and then you no longer can watch sports.
I got 10 more laps to take him out. I'm going to hit him once.
True.
It's the Roval. He'll go into the first corner. I've got 10 laps to make it count.
Wow. Just keep swinging. Swing and a miss. Swing and a miss. Oh, he connected there.
Strike 3, you're out of here.
You junk AJ, and then he'll still end up coming back.
Well, we know Chris's plan. Would anybody else try it? without doing that.
I love sports too much.
No. AJ would need to be down 10 laps.
If I
still
thought
win.
I could actually drive a stock car, I would probably try it.
I was gonna ask,
But
would it be raining? But AJ won in the Roval in the rain. So
Exactly.
That's
I don't think it matters. You could probably blindfold him and he'd still find a way to win.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I definitely would not take that up. Have you seen how fast he gets through cars
Yes.
without any other cars
Yes,
on the
I
track?
have.
It's like, or with the
I
cars on the
have.
track?
Now, if we were talking about Martinsville, that would
Exactly.
be a whole different
All right,
story.
we're going to take a break. We'll be back with more right after this.
You own a performance car and you know how to drive, but you want to learn real performance driving. Well, Bunky, get that car off the street and onto the track. Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier road racing facility, located just over an hour from D.C. in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, is the place to go. And you'll find that Friday at the Track is going to give you what you need. For less than a monthly car payment, you can attend this regularly scheduled one-day instructional event in your street car on one of Summit Point's 3 world-class road racing circuits. You'll receive classroom instruction, skid pad instruction in their cars, including front and rear skid control, and 4 20-minute in-your-car instructional sessions from a professional instructor. Have fun, go fast, and really learn how to drive. Call 304-725-8444 for class schedules and details. That's 304-725-8444. Friday at the Track at Summit Point Motorsports Park. Motorsports sales professionals. Performance Motorsports is looking to build a team of experienced media sales professionals to represent our programming to the industry's top companies, magazines, and racing series. If you have motorsports sales or marketing experience, know how to work with agencies, understand social media, and are incredibly creative when it comes to working with clients and promotions, then we want to hear from you. Top performers are richly rewarded. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444. That's 717-749-0444, or email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. You want to ask for Sue.
Is your job sucking the life out of you? Wake up. You can do something else. Information technology. I know what you're thinking, but I'm not a math and science person. No problem, and no excuses. Because it's not rocket science, it's My Computer Career. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. You could start your new life as an IT pro in as little as 4 months. mycomputercareer.edu, that's mycomputercareer.edu.
The Performance Motorsports Network is a compilation of shows about motorsports. From technical to controversial to just fun, everything you like about racing and gearhead stuff is right here on one internet channel. The Performance Motorsports Network. Tell your friends about it.
Hi, I'm Reed Sorensen. Racing has been a part of me and my family for as long as I can remember. I had to make tough choices early on to get to the top. It took hard work and dedication. But it's those tough choices that help me prepare for challenges I would face as a cup driver. Make the right choices today and be ready for the challenges tomorrow. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Air Force.
Closing time. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. I know you want to take me home.
I mean, he's not wrong.
No,
He's not wrong at all.
It's closing time.
Tim's going to kick us out.
That's right.
Very eclectic music mix tonight.
What a fantastic show.
Yes.
If you guys missed Buddy Kofoid, you can catch the show on demand at any point in time later this week. Just search the Inside Pass or Steering Wheel Nation, and you will find it wherever you listen to your favorite podcast.
Yes. Steering Wheel Nation socials. Everybody go follow them or like them, whatever the social calls for, at The Wheel Nation on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, also LinkedIn. If you're on that platform, search Steering Wheel Nation there and give us a follow. We new site being unveiled in the next couple of weeks will be steeringwheelnation.com. So come on over. We're going to have a bunch of fun with this new media brand. We're so excited about it. We're going to give you a lot of ways to win stuff.
AJ, I'm calling you out. Let's go.
Oh, boy.
Chris needs $16 million. So.
What he'll try slipping out of the car at the last minute and putting Logano in it. That's
probably
what
so. Probably so. So next week, we don't have a guest booked yet. We're going to try to get one, but it'll be Noah's last show with us for the year because he's going back home.
Can we get a bell?
I was going to say, I was waiting for the bell.
Only because Chris asked for it.
He'll be back January 3rd with the rest of us, but we will be here for 2 more weeks, so we have 2 more shows. We'll talk about the kind of year in review and kind of a wrap-up of the season over the next couple of weeks, and some amazing guests we've had this year, and we'll talk all about that in the weeks to come. But you guys have a safe week, have a happy week, and enjoy the final F1 race of the year. What a fantastic race that's going to be, and we'll talk about it next week right here on the Inside Pass. Goodbye, everybody.
You've been listening to The Inside Pass, powered by mycomputercareer.edu. Training for a better life. You can be an IT professional in as little as 4 months. Visit mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation test today. For more exciting and passionate motorsports content, follow The Inside Pass on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and visit theinsidepasslive.com. The opinions expressed by our guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect those of the staff, management, affiliates, or marketing partners of The Inside Pass. No part of this show may be reproduced in any manner without the expressed written consent of The Inside Pass. Thank you for listening.